go. Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about Scream 6. I saw it last night, I let it percolate a little, and now I want to discuss it. And this will be spoiler-free. If you're interested in doing a spoiler video, let me know with a comment down below. And if you want to go even further, and you want to dissect the movie of why we love it and why we hate it, I have a whole channel, a new channel I started a couple months ago just for that. It's called Flaw vs. Awe. I already did Scream. I would love to do Scream 5 and Scream 6, but first check out the Scream Flaw vs. Awe review. I'll leave a link down below. If you love that, there's more of them on that channel. I don't know what I'm pointing at up here, but there's more videos there, and I got a lot more to come if I can speak properly. One a week so far up until April-ish. I have an upload schedule, so check that out. If you guys can please support it, hit a like, leave a comment. I'm trying to build it up to hit 1,000 subs to unlock some features, but that's a passion project of mine, that channel. And that's it. Go watch it. I guarantee I'm very proud of the Scream video. Check it out. I promise you'll love it. Now, if you're going to the theater, check this out. They were giving away these posters. I just want to give you a shout out, heads up. Keep an eye out. This is awesome. And I put it in this protector that I friggin' love. It's an 11 by 17. I had 2 left over from my my comic when we did the posters. I gotta say, you know, Doomsday Kingdom, if you want to read my comic. There's 6 issues. It's a zombie post-apocalypse comic. That's all I'll say about it, but I have to shout it out. But anyway, let's get into the Scream review. Scream 6, the opener, friggin' amazing. It has a twist on it that it's so refreshing, and it's something that's in all the Screams, and we rarely get a chance to view the storyline. I'm trying to stay spoiler-free here, but it's very rare we get a chance to view that aspect until the end of the movie. So having it in the beginning of the movie and done in such a refreshing way, I loved it. That was friggin' awesome. Now, for a lot of people, I'm seeing that they love this opener the most out of the franchise. I'm still in love with 1, but I will admit, this opener, right up until the title card, that was horrible. I apologize. What's his name? James Janice. I fucking apologize, man. That was terrible. You can have your job back, okay? Well, let me erase this review. Anyhow, the opener up until the title card, fantastic. It was my second favorite. And there's a surprise cameo that I didn't expect. Maybe I should have, but I missed her totally in the promo material. But jumping over, now that the opener is done and over with, we got a really nice pace throughout the story flow. There's only 1 or 2 moments where they have some downtime where it felt kind of meh, but to their credit, when they pick up fast. You don't even expect it sometimes. There's some action, you got suspense, you got tension there where Ghostface is, playing with his victims, but he's also like a bull in a china shop. That's an old saying. I don't even like it. I don't even know why I have it in my vocabulary still. I don't know. I'm tired. Anyway, they're solid characters. I like the returning characters from 5. Now, I didn't love them, and these are related to the Jamie character. No. Is that Jamie? No. Randy, played by Jamie. They're related to Randy. I wasn't thrilled in 5 because they didn't get enough screen time, because they didn't get enough with the Chad character, I think, because I thought the other one was okay, but Chad, there was something there. He's got good charm, good charisma, but he's a lot better in 6. He's in it a lot more. They all are, actually. They do bring back a character. I think she's the only remaining character, which is Gail. It's handled good, but there's a little bit of forced callbacks there where I got a little bit of a cheap chuckle out of it. But at the end of the day, it felt cheap. Speaking of returning characters, they explain what's going on with Sydney in a way that I think is probably the best way they could have explained it. That was handled good. And the rest of the Easter eggs, speaking of which, there's going to be a ton of them. You're probably going to have to watch and rewatch this because it involves all 5 of the previous movies. Bits and pieces are all over the place. Even if they're not mentioned, there's visuals all over. Like I saw like the top story. I think it was the jacket from the very first movie, just because it had a weird 1990s news jacket. It had the specific look out of the 90s. Anyhow, it's all over the place. Some of the callbacks, though, the one with Gale especially, it's this continuing problem with a franchise of just redoing something from a previous movie just because. And like I said, I got a cheap laugh out of it, but I felt like it was kind of a stupid scene. Anyhow, there's one moment that deals with not just the callbacks, but what's ingrained in the franchise, and that's the meta moment, or moments, I should say. Now, with the original one, I was wondering why it felt so much cleaner, so much more organic, and then it actually hit me. In part 5, what's a good way to put it? It's like eating chips, right? You're eating your favorite chip. I'll make this quick, I promise. And you eat your chip, it's fresh, and you love it. But then you eat your chip, but someone left the bag open, you son of a bitch. But the chips are all stale. You can't even eat them, you throw them out. Well, in Scream 6, it's not like that. It's like your favorite chip, but it's only a little stale. And if you weren't a high-stoned, bastard and too lazy to go to the store to get another bag of chips, you're just forced eating these partially stale chips where they taste good. They're not bad enough to throw away, but you don't want to eat them because they're a touch stale. It has that moment. It has that vibe to it where she's talking about how do you survive, not a horror movie, but how do you survive a horror franchise, And I get what they're going for. It's almost expected at this point. However, there's something forced there, and I couldn't quite figure it out until I realized, looking back on Scream 1, Randy's just talking shit to a friend in a video store. You know what I mean? Everyone's a suspect. And then he's drunk at a house party, jumping up, and he's kind of just talking shit about surviving. I mean, Randy's taking it serious, but the others are having fun with it, playing around. Even if you have other characters that are taking it serious because, and here's the main thing, because the killer is taking it serious based on those rules. And some of the movies kind of forget that aspect. And that's why. So when the characters take it serious, it probably would help if someone pipes up to the new guys that, yeah, this is real life, but we're going by these rules because the killer is going by these rules. That's how it goes. I don't know. But that felt a little bit stale. Moving on into the parts of it that were a little bit There's some dialogue choices. There's a couple scenes where it felt like they were trying to say this message that maybe didn't hit quite enough because they didn't have enough time to put everything in there that they wanted to do. The movie goes hard, but then it backpedals in a couple ways where they did something similar twice in the first movie, and they do it here, but to an extent that's a bit more ridiculous. And that kind of took away from some of it. I would have to say 80% of the movie is nice and fresh. And then there's a 20% that's just copy and paste. Unfortunately, a majority of that is at the ending, which for me, this is probably the first time in a Scream movie where I knew the killer. I knew the killer maybe 20 minutes in. And if you're a writer, if you studied writing, especially screenwriting, you're going to know easy early on. I won't give it away, but there's something that there's going to pop up, and you as a writer are going to be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It has nothing to do with the movie. Oh, all right. And that'll lead you to discover what's going on. Not all the way. There's still stuff there that you won't understand, but I leaned over to my daughter saying, I got it. But then I waited until the end because I didn't want to spoil it. And sure enough, I leaned over right before the reveal and I was like, it's so-and-so. And I was right on the money. So keep an eye out for that. It's probably the most predictable ending for the killer reveal. And they went through the most ridiculous shit to make it unpredictable. And I think that even kind of blew up in their face a little bit. Not for everyone, because it was kind of cheap. So the ending was the part I wasn't such a fan of. And even though like they go hard and there's that tension there, there's a bit of the, I guess the Fast and Furious is the only thing I can think of to relate how ridiculous it is. It's not like Ghostface, blowing through the streets in a high performance vehicle, hitting a ramp, taking out a horse on taking out a cop on a horse and flying through a skyscraper, getting a tow hooked up by a helicopter and what other type of crazy shit they do in those movies. It's not that, but it's this kind of action that, for the movie that it is, feels a little out of place and feels a little more like it belongs in the Fast and Furious franchise. And I hope they tone that down, not even tone down the action, but they kind of don't go overboard with it moving on if they do continue with these characters or if they start over fresh. It's starting to feel like they need this action piece because we get like the reveal portion, but then it's like, okay, now we're going to kick into the action portion. Anyhow, and it's not over the top. But some of it, I guess the problem is characters getting like vital wounds and just like walking it off, where they'll get stabbed up in the throat or they'll pull it out and be like, I'm good, man. Just take me to a hospital. Matter of fact, let's burn it close. Cauterize that bitch. I'm good. So there's, I think, more along the lines of the wounds being over the top, but what they do after the fact to continue on. Again, I want to stay spoiler free, but some of it gets a little bit crazy, you know, a little bit to where I'm like, oh God, let's make this be as ridiculous as it gets and then get a little more grounded here on out. I'm just saying. I want to end on one thing though. Ghostface, this is how you do it. Ghostface is tough. He looks tough. He looks cool. He's badass. Ghostface is awesome. It's the same idea as Michael Myers. Even if you thought Halloween Kills was stupid, I do too. Michael Myers looks amazing in every single shot. Every time you go, oh, man, this movie is stupid. But man, I got a full-on erection because Michael Myers is fucking sexy. You have that here. They could have even done it more. Ghostface looks cool, moves cool, acts cool, is cool. They film him cool. I love it. And I think they need to continue this, not just with him, but for all the horror icons. This is definitely an aspect that you need to go. Long gone and long dead are the days where the killers stay in the shadows and we have point of view. They did that shit not because it was the scariest. They did that shit because it was the cheapest film. Let's get over ourselves here. This isn't like high art, you know? They put the camera there and they put someone's fucking, it was supposed to be a female, but you got these hairy ass knuckles and they're like moving trees and branches and because it was cheap to film. That's it. We don't need all these, it's not like the Jaws. Jaws doesn't work for everything. We want to see our killers and we want them to look cool. You don't have to overdo it, but this is how you do it. Ghostface looked freaking awesome. I give this a high recommend. For me, it's second place. It has plenty of room for improvement. It's not the greatest in the world, but I did have a positive time in the theaters. I don't want you to get too hyped up, though. It's definitely, in the scheme of things, it's definitely a good movie. I'll say that. A good movie. I can feel some of you are going to think it's a great movie. If you didn't like 5, though, I don't know if you're going to like 6. Maybe the location does it for you. But don't forget to check out the Flaw vs. All channel. I'll leave links down below. That's my opinions for Scream 6. Leave a comment down below. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Bitch. I'm just kidding. I love you. A lot. Like a lot. Sexy.